Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jack. Today, we're going to be talking about education in the United States. So I put a link to today's handout in chat. So if you will go to chat and click on the link and download the document, that's what we'll be using today. Just want to remind everyone that we will be recording the lesson today, and I will put it on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see it tomorrow. But we will be recording this lesson. So please go to chat, click on the link, and download this document. And we will talk about education in the United States. I wanted to show you something. In my neighborhood, I get a newsletter in my neighborhood. This is the Chamblee. This is the part of Atlanta that I live in, and we have quite a number of Vietnamese living in my neighborhood. And I just found this yesterday. And can you read this? Let me see, where is her name? Yeah. Can you read her name? Are you able to read that? Can somebody tell me how to pronounce her name?
It's Victoria Hue.
Hun, okay. Yeah, so I'll read you what it says about her. It says, Victoria Hue serves as the Senior Vice President of the Center for Pan-Asian Communities Service, which is the first and largest and oldest organization in the Southeast of the United States, excuse me, to focus on concerns of Asian Americans, immigrants, and refugees. Victoria grew up in a limited English proficient Vietnamese refugee household, which ignited her passion for community building, strategic planning, and policy work within immigrant spaces. Since 2009, she has advocated for equitable language access and encouraged civic engagement, protected immigrant rights, championed cultural competency, and developed dynamic social service programs. So this is a very successful Vietnamese lady who lives in my neighborhood. Okay, so apparently when her family came to the United States, they didn't speak English, and now she is a celebrated leader of our community. So isn't that wonderful? And it's nice that we have many Vietnamese people in Atlanta, because I get to eat good Vietnamese food with all the Vietnamese restaurants here. All right. Okay, so let's get started. So today I'll be doing probably most of the talking and reading, but anytime you want to say anything or ask a question, all you have to do is unmute and talk. Just say, hey, Jack, can I ask a question? Or, just start talking. You can give a comment if you want to say something or ask a question. Anytime, just unmute and ask your question. And thank you for turning your cameras on. Thank you, thank you, thank you for turning your cameras on. It's wonderful. I feel like I have people in class when you turn your cameras on. So thank you for turning your cameras on. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta, and I'm having my coffee. This is my breakfast today. So excuse me for that, but it's early for me. I know it's evening for you. So did you have your dinner yet?
No, I'm not.
No, not yet. Okay. After class? Okay.
Yes, maybe.
Okay. We'll take a
My
short.
family is having dinner now, but I'm not.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That's not fair. We'll take a short break at when it's 8 o'clock your time, and you can get a snack. All right. So it's hot in Atlanta. Is it hot in Hue? Is it
Definitely hot.
Washing here.
what was the high temperature today in Hue?
Like it's 34.
Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
Yeah.
34 is not too bad. The other day, somebody told me it was 40.
Yeah, but the temperature outside is maybe it's went up to like 45 maybe.
45. Oh, that's hot. Okay.
Outside. Yeah.
Yeah. It gets to be very hot here in Atlanta too. Atlanta is in the south, and so we're known for our very hot summers. But in the United States, in the Northwest, like Washington State and Oregon and Northern California, normally it's very cool there. But this summer it has been extremely hot, and people are dying because it's so hot.
Yeah.
It's very unusual.
Maybe because of the climate change.
I think so. Yeah, it's what everyone's believing now. Some people who didn't, huh?
In my village now it's just 26 degrees.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay,
really.
what village is that?
I live in Guangnam, but I live in mountain area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a small city? Is it a small village?
It's just a small village.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
lucky you. You get lots of nature.
Yeah.
I bet it's very beautiful where you live.
Yes, it's very beautiful and peaceful.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. I love hearing about that. My
Yes.
my vegetables in my garden are beginning to give me some food. I've gotten eggplants and tomatoes and herbs. And anyway, my garden is very big and green now. All right, so we're going to talk about education in the United States. My name is Jack. Anytime you want to talk, just say, hey, Jack, I want to talk. All right, I'm going to turn those off. Excuse me. The first thing I want to say is that education in the United States, it's not, okay, when I talk about federal, I'm talking about the government of the United States. Does anybody know how many states are in the United States? Anybody know how many states are in the United States? Let me get a map real quickly. Hold on a second.
50.
Yes, 50. Okay, good. let me just get, it would probably, did everybody get the document in chat? You need to go to chat and click on the link and get the document. I am going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'm going to pause the recording just for a minute. Okay, everybody, if you haven't already gotten the document, go to chat and download the document for class today, the handout. Okay, so most of the laws and rules for schools are determined by the states of the United States, like Georgia, my state, and California, and New York, and Texas, and other states. Okay? So, oh, I made a spelling mistake. I just found it. I'm sorry. You might want to fix that on your handout. Elementary, okay? Does that ever happen to you? You make a mistake and you're really sorry for it. And then this really should be a small s. Okay, so elementary and secondary schools are, let me just show you this picture. These are the ages, the years old that the children are in these grades. We have preschool education, or some people call it pre-kindergarten. I always called it preschool. And then elementary school is like first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grades. Some people call it middle school in the sixth, seventh, and eighth grades. Some people call it junior high school. So it's different in different states. It's different in different cities. Some people call it one thing and some people call it another one. And then you have high school for people who are 14 to 15 and all the way to 17 to 18. Okay, so let me just talk about those elementary and secondary schools. You have public schools. Now, when you say public schools in the United States, that means something completely different than public school in England. In England, they use the word public school, but it means something completely different. But in the United States, public schools means that they get their money from the state, from the county, and from the city. Okay, public schools gets money from people paying taxes. Okay. So in the United States, we all pay taxes. We pay federal taxes to the United States. We pay state taxes. So I pay taxes to Georgia. We also have to pay county taxes and city taxes. So all of that money goes, well, some of that money goes to paying for public schools. So who pays for public schools? I do. When I work and I earn my money and I pay my taxes, we all pay for public schools. Okay, so public schools in the United States means taxpayers pay for the schools. And then you have private schools. So the parents and the students pay tuition tuition is the money you have to pay to go to that school. You have you have just, you know, well, when I say private schools, I mean like day schools where you just go to school during the day and then you come home at night, okay, or in the afternoon. But you also have private boarding schools where students live in dormitories on campus. Okay, so those are called boarding schools when students live at the school. And then you have specialty schools for students with special needs. You might have a school for the blind, people who can't see. You might have specialty schools for children who have problems with their brain of some kind, you know, psychological needs. Maybe students who just have difficulty learning. So there are lots of specialty schools, all right? Schools for the disabled or impaired. And then you have homeschooling, where the teachers are the parents or tutors. But in other words, these children don't go to school. They learn at home. It's called homeschooling. And I want to make this term clear. K-12 means kindergarten through 12th grade. So many private schools are called K-12 because they begin at kindergarten and they go through the 12th grade. So when you see K-12, that's what it's talking about. Okay, so I have two sons. My sons are now 32 years old, so they're not boys anymore, they're men. But when they were little, when they were like 3 years old or 4 years old, I think, we took them to a private preschool. And we would drop them off during the day and pick them up in the afternoon. And anyway, it was a wonderful school. They got to play with lots of other children. They got to learn the alphabet and numbers and things like that in preschool. Then you have kindergarten. Kindergarten is, you know, for 5 to 6 year olds. And this is actually a word from German. And in German, this means a children's garden. So Kinder in German means children, and Garten means garden. So it's a children's garden. Most Americans probably don't even know that, but I was a German teacher for a long time. I learned German in college, and then I studied in Germany, and then I taught German for a number of years. So does any of you speak German?
No.
Okay. Maybe French?
You know, when I was in high school, I have like attended in like study like for maybe 2 days. It's taught me that it's very hard to study French. So I just, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Foreign language education in the United States is not very good. As a matter of fact, the education in elementary school and high school, it's not very good. I have to say, I was a teacher in a private high school, and I tried to be a very good teacher, but I saw a lot of teachers who just did very little work. They didn't care, and they were just bad teachers. And unfortunately, there are many bad teachers. teaching does not pay very well in the United States. We are famous for not paying our teachers enough money. And also, teachers are not all that well respected. When I went to Germany and we had an exchange program, I took my students to Germany and we would go to their high schools, and things were so much different in Germany. People really respect their teachers like they respect doctors, you know, and they pay them well, and the teachers are very professional. Here in the United States, not so much. It's not easy to be a teacher in the United States because you have to pass all of these state rules and regulations. But a lot of, there's just, I have to say, there are many bad teachers in the United States. When you get to college, it's much different. In college, the teachers are much, well, they're more professional. They're not always great teachers, but they at least really know what they're talking about, okay? So, but I have to say that everywhere in the United States, there are some good teachers. There are some wonderful teachers. And my sons were lucky to have some of the excellent teachers when they were growing up. So if your teacher is a good teacher, tell her thank you or tell him thank you. All right, so in the United States, you have preschool, elementary school. Elementary school is kindergarten through about the 5th grade. In the 6th grade, most people now are calling this middle school. So middle school is like 6, 7, and 8. And when you go to the 9th grade, now you're in high school. So most people in the United States in the 9th grade, you enter high school. Okay, so the first year you're in high school, you're a freshman. Your second year, you're a sophomore. Your third year, you're a junior. And in your 4th year, you're a senior. Okay, so tell me about school in Vietnam. Do kids in Vietnam go to school when they're 3 to 5 years old? Do they go to preschool?
Yes, it's just similar to the United States.
Okay, what
But
about?
it was, yeah, it was a little bit different when in the middle school because we also include the 9th grade.
Oh, okay.
It's called the 6, 7, and 8 and 9th grade in the middle school.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for telling me that. So is elementary school about the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same.
What do children learn in kindergarten? Well, what do you call kindergarten in Vietnam?
Mẫu giáo.
Okay, and what do they learn in
Um,
Mao Yao?
I don't really remember, but I think we just come and play with everyone and then eat and sleep and then come back home. Maybe.
Do you learn letters and numbers?
Yes, but it's like just after we the summer before we enter the 1st grade. Yeah, just
Oh, okay.
focus on the summer.
Okay. All right. So your middle school is 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So until you're 15, you're in middle school. Okay. By the way, usually human beings all over the world At this age, between 12 and 14, 15, the girls mature much faster than the boys. So the girls think better, and they act more reasonably, and the boys are a little bit wilder and maybe don't use their brains as much as the girls. And the girls grow faster at this age when they're 12 to 14. And I know this because I taught high school, and I taught 8th through 12th grade. So I saw boys and girls at this age. And when the students would come back after summer and they would come into the 9th grade, all of a sudden the boys are like got way much bigger in the 9th grade. Okay. And the girls are getting taller and taller, but they don't want to be taller. The boys want to be taller. But it's a very interesting age, and I was lucky to be able to teach high school, including 8th grade, some 8th graders, all the way through 12th grade. And I taught German. I also taught biology for a while. Okay, so let's look at higher education, college or university. And here, this is what you are mostly interested in. So your first year in college, you're a freshman, then a sophomore, then a junior, then a senior. So this is for a 4-year college or university. The difference between a college and a university is a university has different schools, we call them. Okay, so like you are in the school for foreign language, okay? But Hue University might have other schools like medicine or something like that, okay? So we are going to talk more about different kinds of schools at this level, but basically this is your college education in a 4-year school. After you graduate, you get a diploma, okay? Let me see if I can show you my diploma so you can see what an American diploma. This is my master. Oh, am I going to be able to do it? I want to show you my master's degree in teaching English. Hold on a minute. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, if you can believe it, I just did that about 2 years ago. That is my second master's degree. I also have a master's degree in technical writing. So I have 2 master's degrees. I have an undergraduate degree in German, and I also have a certificate of translation. So I'm a certified German to English translator. So I was a translator for a while. I've had a very interesting life. Okay, so other things that you can do after you get your diploma is you can go to graduate school, all right? You can get a master's degree or a doctoral degree. But alternatives to college are vocational school. So this is kind of misleading because you would go from high school to vocational school. And here you learn a vocation. A vocation is like, for example, auto mechanic, an automobile mechanic, okay? Or you might learn how to work on heating and air conditioning systems, or you might learn to work in a hospital, or you might learn to work in an office. Okay, so usually vocational schools are about 2 years. There's other forms of adult education, which I will talk to you about in a minute. But I did want to show you something else, and what I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop the recording so that YouTube won't block the video. Recording back on. Okay. So when you were asking, is there a difference between high school and college? There's a big
No,
difference.
the university and college.
Oh, university and college.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, there is a difference because a college can be just a 2-year institution
Mhm.
where you could go to. As a matter of fact, I taught at a local college in my neighborhood, and you get your, if you're a full-time student, you can get your associate's degree in 2 years. Okay. Today you're going to hear a student in a video from Vietnam who went to who was going to a 2-year college. So a college can be just 2 years. University is always 4 years. Okay, but just like there are public colleges, just like there are public high schools, there are also public colleges and universities. But then there are also private colleges and universities. Okay. So,
Okay, thank you for answering my question.
yeah, well, it was a good question. And also, there are good colleges and bad colleges and everything in between, okay? Some are very good and some are very bad and everything in between. So there's a wide spectrum of quality. And also there are, cheap schools and very expensive colleges and universities. Some colleges and universities, I don't know how to tell you how much money they charge. I'm sure that you can find that out on your own, but it can be very expensive to go to a well-known university or college. It depends on the reputation of the school. Okay, so let's say Harvard University in Massachusetts is a very famous school, and you can get an excellent education there, but it's going to be very expensive. Okay. Also, where the college is or where the university is, well, Harvard is in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is near Boston. And the Boston area is extremely expensive. Hold on, excuse me 1 minute. So yeah, there's a huge variety of schools and colleges. And the United States is so big that we have, colleges and universities in all 50 states. And, if you live in California, for example, well, the population, the number of people who live in California is the highest in the United States. So a lot of people live in California. So a lot of people all want to live in an apartment. So that means if you want an apartment, you're going to pay a lot of money to live in San Francisco or LA or someplace like that, okay? But if you want to live in a state in the middle of the United States, in Montana or something, not a lot of, there's about 1 million people in the whole state of Montana. So it's not so expensive there. You're going to hear some Vietnamese students talk today about things like that. So let me get back to what I was saying, but thank you for your question. It was an excellent question. All right, let me get back to the handout. Okay, so were you surprised at how much those private schools cost? Okay. Okay, so here's another way to look at the educational system. So in this illustration, you start at age 3, and you can go to nursery schools or preschools, kindergarten, elementary, also called primary schools. And you can see there's different ways to call these periods of life. This is where it starts to get a little bit confusing, but basically, middle school is usually between the ages of 10 or 11 and maybe 13 or 14. Some people call it junior high school. Some combine junior and senior high schools. When I was in high school, we started in the 8th grade, but almost always today, high school starts in the 9th grade, almost always, and ends with the 12th grade. In Germany, they go to high school until the 13th grade, okay? But in the United States, it's the 12th grade. Notice that this portion of the education is called elementary or primary schools. These are called secondary education. Okay, also you can go into academic, vocational, or technical schools. You know, some of those schools, you learn how to use computers and things like that. Okay, and then after the 12th grade in the United States, then you go to either a vocational technical school, okay, where you learn how to do technical things, or vocations like like nurse assistants. Nurses have to go to a university and get a 4-year degree. A nursing assistant can get a 2-year degree, okay? So if you, like, one strategy is to become a nurse's assistant and then become a nurse, all right? So there are lots of opportunities in the United States to get a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. So there's junior colleges or community colleges, and I taught at a community college. All right, and when you first go to college, this is called your undergraduate programs, undergraduate. All right, so if you're a freshman or a sophomore, a junior or senior, you're still in the undergraduate program. At the end of the 4 years, you get a bachelor's degree. Now, that English word bachelor means a man who is not married. And I don't know the history of the word, but this is just what you call it, a bachelor's degree. Even though you might be a woman and you might be married, you could still get a bachelor's degree, okay? So notice that these schools in this area are called post-secondary education. all right? In order to get a master's degree, you first have to get a bachelor's degree. Usually, this takes about 4 years. Usually, a master's degree takes about 2 years, usually. It depends on if you go to school full-time or part-time. There's also professional schools, like medical schools. Okay, if you want to go into medicine and be a doctor, you have to have very good grades in your bachelor's degree in order to get into a medical school. Theology school is where you study religion. Law is where you study law. So you might want to go to law school and be a lawyer. Okay. You can also go get your PhD or your doctoral degree, or you could get your medical doctor degree. That would be an MD if you wanted to be a doctor. Your degree would be an MD. And then you can even do postdoctoral study and research. So maybe you go get your bachelor's degree and then you go get your master's degree and you go even further and study for another maybe 4 years to get your doctoral degree. Well, now you can be a full professor. With a master's degree, you can be a professor, but with a most schools prefer that you have a doctoral degree to be a full professor, okay? So if you want to continue being a specialist in your field, then you can do further research, and that would be called postdoctoral study. Okay, so some of your teachers at Hue University are doctoral PhD professors, and they continue to study and teach and write. A lot of them write essays and academic papers talking about something that they are a specialist in. So, okay, any questions about any of that? Any comments about any of that? Do you know what you want to do? Do you know how much education you want to get? And do any of you, here's the big question, do any of you want to study in the United States?
Well, I have planned to go to study abroad in Canada.
In Canada, okay.
Yeah, but my study plans have a little bit like trouble because I'm not like right is correctly why I want to study in Canada and they just not accept it.
What was the last thing you said? They what?
Yeah, they refused my
Your application?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. That happened to me too. This is not an easy part of your life. And you're going to find that there are going to be, you know, success and failure and maybe a little bit of success or a little bit of failure. But also, you're going to change your mind, you know, because most students in the United States change their mind once they get into college. For example, me, I started out thinking that I wanted to study biology. Okay, and I did study biology for about 2 years. And then my university said, you have to take a foreign language to get your bachelor's degree. You have to study a foreign language for at least 2 years. And so I said, okay, I'll study German because my friend was studying German. Okay, um, so then I went, I started going to biology classes, chemistry classes, physics classes, and it was very difficult for me. And I worked I worked as hard as I could possibly work, and I still got B's. Okay. And sometimes, like when I took calculus, it was like, I didn't get it. And I did not make a very good grade in calculus class. So then when I was studying German also as a minor. Biology was my major, German was my minor. Okay, so then I went to study for in the summer in Germany, and my whole life, everybody at school told me, like the teachers and the administrators at the school, they said, Jack, you're no good with foreign language. You can't study foreign language. Okay. So I get to college and they say you have to study foreign language. And so I go to Germany and I'm studying in Germany, and it turns out I'm very good with foreign language. but but it was the first time I had to actually learn a foreign language. So in other words, the people who were advising me were wrong. And so I had to get into a situation where I had to learn a foreign language. And then it turned out my professors said, Jack, you were an excellent German student. Why don't you make German your major? And I said, okay. So, I changed my mind. And that happens a lot to students in college because you don't really know what you want until you see what's out there. So you have to start taking all these different classes. And when you go to an American university, you have to take, I'll put it in chat, you have to take what's called the look in chat. It's called the core curriculum. The core curriculum is the classes that everybody has to take. So, for example, you do have to study math. You do have to study science. You do have to study history. Okay, all of these things, it's like basic studies. So you have to take the core curriculum. So when you get into those things, you start to see, oh, I like literature, or I like biology, or I like geology, or I like foreign language, things like, and then you find out what you don't like. Oh, I don't like calculus, and calculus doesn't like me. So um, many American students change their mind once they get into college, and they change their major 2 or 3 times, okay? Some students even change their mind and change their major 3 times, maybe even more, I don't know. But it's a fact that many students change their mind at least once or twice. Okay, so now, you guys, it's time for a break. Let's take a break. And why don't you return at 8:15, okay? Take a break and come back at 8:15. Maybe you can get a snack or something, but come back at 8:15. Take a break.
Khám ăn đầu tiên. Muốn được ngon lắm, muốn được thơm, muối muối á, tôi nói không. Thì mua về tàu tàu tơ lấy vào mà ngán hẳn rồi. Gì là phải nhận ta nghe đến nhau chợ đi phải nơi bữa nay hơi chia rồi điện tao thấy
1 tiếng 20 ngàn.
hơi chia rồi điện
1 tiếng 20 ngàn à? Đi, mình không đi. 1 tiếng 20 ngàn cả tiền. Rồi 1.160 luôn. Nghĩ bên nữa
gan mệt mấy
nghĩ
mấy tưởng tâm trọng nó giảm đó tao gom hơn chỉ tiêu chỉ là từ những thì em mới ngồi vô mình đi gò 200 em 2.000
ngồi một chỗ nhiều mình.
trở là một về sợ ông là chiều chiều là đi một chỉ đạo tối về nấu ăn tắm rửa
Thế là mình tránh mình cùng quen với mình.
thành đoàn đi vậy mấy ngày đâu tao mình phải hoài chứ cơm không được ăn đâu ngon nữa không mình ra thức cơm mình đỡ á đó vậy cố gắng lắm thì cơm đã
Nothing nào hay là
anh chụp này định như vậy nhặt lại sớm cái có kể mình có hơi tội nữa là đọc phòng câm vị ba buổi là lớp mấy nghìn là chỉ trong tôi nhỏ đó chứ đặt cơm xong rồi giờ tiền đã đi trả nhưng mà có bị trong khổng lắm mẹ đây rồi mẹ đi xong rồi
không bao giờ trở thành nhà lắm đi cả.
Dạo đằng mai tôi
Chị
buổi
có thấy
bạn.
không?
Ừ?
Chị có thấy không?
Đi ra phê phóng á. Đi. Ai để có mẹ vô đã.
Cứ tặng cho người đã. Ngày mai làm chưa? Rồi. Tầm giờ xong thì mấy giờ?
Rồi giờ nè. Cảm ơn ơn.
Tầm
Nghĩ không
mấy
nhớ
giờ?
đặt đây.
Tầm mấy giờ?
Hiện giờ mà
Đúng giờ đi chủ nhật.
mua chị tuổi về. Được 7 đi à. Anh đi làm việc nhé.
Chị á. Không phải lớn làm việc không rồi.
Có 5 ngày 2 đấy. Mong rồi tí cũng được. Hay nữa. Tí cho mệt về tuổi 5 giờ.
Tình nhân hay đi cấp đi mà ăn có gì. Đi được hay là ăn gì.
Quá. Thế được 15 món nữa.
Những ăn chua à? À, mà trước có tỏi và ớt.
Tuổi kiểu tuổi hơn luôn. Mỹ thầy tới để mình cho hợp mình còn Mỹ thầy vẫn bình thường này là vẫn bình thường nhá. Mình cảm thấy ở đó buồn đấy. Ví dụ mình đang đi làm thằng Mỹ thầy có 2 đứa đến tuyển bác kiểu mía
Okay, everyone, let's get back together, please.
tắm hỏi là
Let's get back together, please.
Bạn Hiền Anh ơi, tắt mic đi bạn ơi.
Okay. I'm just going to mute somebody. I think they didn't know they had their microphone on. Okay. Now, let me go back to the handout. Okay, everybody. So now I'm going to talk to those of you who think maybe you want to study in the United States. Okay. So the first place that you would go to would be Hanoi. Let me stop sharing that. I'm going to share some websites and some videos. So the United States Embassy is in Hanoi. And if you want to study in the USA, you could go to this website and read about studying in the USA. And there's lots of very good links here for you. Okay, how do you get a visa to study in the USA? How do you get advice for studying in the USA? How do you find somebody who lives in Vietnam who can give you some advice? How can you get some money to study in the United States? Because a grant is money, okay? Just think about the word grant as money, all right? If you get a grant, that means they're going to give you something for free that usually costs money. So it's kind of like free money. You have to do certain things, okay? You have to make good grades and things like that. But anyway, this website has lots of good advice for you about studying in the United States. And here are some stories about why people study in the United States. Here's some interesting things. Why do many Americans list pronouns on social media profiles? That's an interesting topic right there. Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. That's like we were reading, I was showing you about the lady here in Atlanta from Vietnam who is a leader. Okay, anyway, here is the whole Educational USA Advising Center. All right, so you can go here and get lots of advice about studying in the United States. Am I not sharing? I'm not
Yes,
sharing.
you forgot to share.
I'm sorry. I forget sometimes. If I forget to share, just say, hey, Jack, you're not sharing. Okay, so anyway, so this is the whole website about where you get information about studying in the United States. Here's somebody in Ho Chi Minh City. Normally it's in Hanoi where the embassy is. It looks like they also have offices in Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, lots of good information here. Here's a phone number if you need to call somebody. All right, so this is an excellent link for you. I'm going to go back to where I originally went to. All right, so that was the link that I gave you. Now I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to go to another link. I'm going to go to a video, actually, that talks about how things have changed. This video is from just a few days ago. This video is only 5 days old, so it is accurate up to the date, up to the day almost, information about immigration in the United States. So let me first pause that. Oh, stop. Let me go full screen. This seems to be coming from the United States Department of State. Share sound, yes. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning. It's very short, it's only 2 minutes.
Hello and welcome to the International Report. In this video, we'll look at the updates to the F1, H1B, H4, J1 and tourist visas update. Beginning on July 1, 2021, embassies and consulates around the world will engage in an intensive 2-month initiative dedicated to interviewing F1 student visa applicants. According to information released by a senior State Department official at a town hall meeting, the organization intends to interview as many students as possible during the summer of 2019. On June 14, 2021, U.S. embassies and consulates around the world will open tens of thousands of student visa appointments for July and August 2021, with more appointment slots to be opened in the coming months.
Okay, that is very interesting. Okay, so this means that the United States government is encouraging you to think about studying in the United States, okay? So that is a change. We have a new president now, okay? So things are changing.
In the coming months. In the future, students who qualify for interview waivers or Dropbox visa processing may be able to apply at application support centers abroad. In addition to students, H1B, H4, and J1 visa applicants will be given priority for visa appointment scheduling. Individuals in these visa categories who are traveling to the United States to support specific fields such as medicine and research will be given priority this summer.
Okay, so they're really encouraging, especially people who want to study medicine and research. Okay, so if you're wanting to study those, it's like you've got a good chance.
Priority this summer. The State Department is doing its best to accommodate these individuals' requests for national interest exception appointments. Unfortunately, the presidential proclamations that are still in effect will continue to prevent B1 or B2 applicants for tourism and temporary business activities from scheduling appointments. Furthermore, only a small number of B1 or B2 visas will be issued, or a national interest exception will be granted. As a result, B1 or B2 applicants should expect to hear more information about when they can apply for a B1 or B2 tourist visa next year.
Okay, so because of the pandemic, they're not encouraging people to come just as tourists, but they are encouraging you as students to consider studying in the United States, okay? So think about that. Here is our new president, Joe Biden, and hopefully he will make things better for students who want to come to the United States to study. All right, now I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to go to another website. Okay. This is a very well-known research center, the Pew Research Center. And I want you to see this. This is about Vietnamese in the United States. Okay, this is not students, it's just Vietnamese people. Okay, so this is showing you how many million are in the United States. Okay, it has climbed over the years from 2000 to now. Okay, let's see. Here is the data. All right. English proficiency of Vietnamese population in the US. Okay. This is all Asians. This is Vietnamese adults are 48% efficient. Those born in Vietnam, I suppose, are 35% proficient. Of course, those who were born in the United States are 90% efficient. And of everybody, Vietnamese are 54% efficient in English. Length of time in the US for Vietnamese immigrants. Okay, so this is not just students, this is everybody. All right, here's the chart. Here are the data. Percentage of foreign-born population who have lived in the US. Year 2000, 2010, 2015, and 2019. 0 to 10 years, more than 10 years. So you see those numbers are quite high. Now, here's the really interesting chart. Educational attainment of Vietnamese population in the US. Okay. And this is Vietnamese born in the United States. Okay. So, by the way, this is dark green is high school or less. This green is some college. This is bachelor's degree. So you see many Vietnamese have gotten a bachelor's degree and many have gotten actually a postgraduate degree, so a master's or a doctorate. So I would be encouraged by that if I were you. All right. And you'll see that this chart, Vietnamese living in poverty, those numbers are very low. I don't know what's wrong with this chart, but these numbers are low. So Vietnamese people live pretty well in the United States. So those numbers are low. Okay, so these are the main things I wanted you to see, especially this chart right here. Okay, any questions so far? So that's encouraging information. Let me see, where do I want to go next? Okay. Here's a Wikipedia website that you might find interesting if you want to know where do Vietnamese people live in the United States. Yeah, you can see most Vietnamese live in California, but here's my state, Georgia. We have quite a few Vietnamese living here, quite a lot in Texas, quite a lot on the West Coast, but also in the Northeast. So if you want to get more information here, this is an interesting website about Vietnamese in the United States. And I believe this is the South Vietnamese flag. Am I right about that? This is not the current flag for Vietnam. This was for South Vietnam, I believe.
Yes.
Am I right about that?
Yes, it's not Vietnamese flag.
Right. Okay. But anyway, it's talking about history. That's probably why you see some of that in there. Religious makeup of Vietnamese Americans. You can see those numbers here. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that website so you could see if you want to come back and look at this. You can. You have the link in the handout. Okay, I'm going to close that. I think I'm going to go ahead and close that. Close that. I'm done there. Now, okay. I'm going to take you to this website real quick. I'm not going to read to you, but I'm going to just show you this website that you can come to later. And apparently this man has started the Vietnam Institute at the University of Missouri in the United States. So he graduated from the master's program in journalism as a Fulbright scholar at the University of Missouri. Okay, so you can read his advice here about his time in the United States at the University of Missouri. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to read it to you, but this is something you can come back to and look at in your free time. All right, but there is a video that I want to show you. Let me get the video first. Okay. Now I can share. Okay, you'll see what this is about right away.
First of all, it's been always my dreams to study outside of my country since I was in high school. And I think, to study somewhere has a great background or, strong programs.
Notice that he's at a community college, so it's a 2-year associate's degree, okay?
Especially in the United States, they have a very strong business programs here. That's why it made me want to go study outside of Vietnam, especially specifically in the United States. I can live away from my parents. I can be independent, take care of myself, Still somewhat, I still depend on, they pay for my tuition, but but it's nice to know, to see how your life is without someone look over your shoulder. And you can take care of everything by yourself, and you never know you're going to need it when you grow up, or ready to have a family on your own. I would advise them to, first of all, do the research of the area they were going to move to. They need to get the process of applying and, preparing themselves mentally and emotionally. Because it's not as, as a bubble little world that they used to live in. It's completely different, so they have to be mentally prepared and getting themselves ready way before, for myself, I prepare myself for a year before I actually, go to the United States. So. I was lucky to have a family friend who recommended me to apply to Nova. And still, I had to do my research on that with my aunt, and we were comparing the tuition from school to school for university and what are the differences. My family wanted me to go to a straight 4-year to avoid all of the transfer process and paperwork. But when I compared the price and I told them, okay, look, if you go to Nova for 2 years, you only spend top $18,000. When you go to a straight 4-year university, you pay that much amount of money. Even $20,000 a year for some private colleges. That would be $80,000 for 4 years. Why don't you get 2 years off, you only pay 1/4 of the 4 year, and then you save 1 year of $20,000? Why don't?
What do you guys think about that? Does that sound like good advice to you?
Yes.
Okay, so think about this also. Like you said, you have to prepare yourself to study in the United States. And if you go to a 2-year community college first, that gives you 2 years to get used to being in the United States before you go to the university. Now, you have to make sure that the university you want to go to will accept the work that you did at the community college. Okay, that's very important, because if you go to a 2-year community college and then you want to go to a university and the university says, well, you can come here, but you're going to start as a freshman and do all that work all over again, because we don't accept that school's reputation. So you have to be very careful and make sure you ask the university, would you accept my work at this community college when I come? Can I join as a junior? Okay, not as a freshman. So I think this guy is giving very good advice. Let me go back and play. Okay. Where's play? There we go.
Do that. Do some extra paperwork. It's not really that much of a hassle. You still have a lot of free time here. And it's not that hard. I mean, once you get to know the people counselor, they're really helpful. They're going to show you step to step Anka Dadalit or Christy Babuena to help me all the way through. It's like, here's what you have to do. This is what kind of paperwork you need to do. And this is the person you need to go to this is the counselor you need to go to talk to in that university in particular, who knows how to deal with international student paperwork and everything. So it's not that hard. So I would advise people, compare the tuition. It's really, planning your budget. Well, job on campus is not really that too much available for international students, because most in Nova, there are work studies, but there are also job on campus. I would say you have to try really hard, and you have to be really, really motivated in finding a job. It took me 1 semester to find a job starting in the bookstore, and then I moved my way to be a writing tutor in a writing center. So you have to be here at least a year to have experience to be a tutor, and that is the most easiest job that you can find on campus. You have to maintain your good GPA, and know what you be very good at what you studying.
Who can tell me what is GPA? What is GPA? Anybody? GPA.
Your total score?
Yes. So this is your total, just like you said, this is your total grade point average, okay? So it's your grade point average, and the best number you can have is 4.0. So if you had, like my GPA at the end of my master's program was a 388, and I'm very proud of that. It was very high. So if your GPA is 2, that's not good. Okay, so you want it to be at least 3, 3.2, 3.5, up. Keep your grade point average up. Okay, thank you.
I heard so much terrible thing about them. They are so moody. If they're not happy, they're not going to give you a visa, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was really nervous because I really wanted to go to, to the United States to study, to, have a career and have a life beyond me. And I did my paperwork. I prepared 2 weeks before my interview. I reviewed everything. But on that day of my interview, I went in, they said something wrong with my barcode on the application. So I was freaking out oh my God. So I had to go.
He said, I was freaking out. What does that mean? What does it mean to freak out? I was freaking out.
Like, yeah, I'm very confused. Yeah.
Okay, so you notice his English is very good. Okay, here.
Go all the way outside the embassy and then, print out another, barcode on that paper application and got back in. But that day wasn't as terrifying as I expected. It's pretty, straightforward. He's like, okay, why do you want to go to the United States to study? I told him why I wanted to. And he just said, okay, well then have a good time in the United States. You granted a visa. Like, yay! Be relaxed. I mean, you can be a little bit nervous, but not terrifying at all. And that's gonna make you look really horrible in front of the consular office. You don't want to be too intense. You want to be as relaxed as possible, and just be yourself. And I think they're gonna see that in you. I think they are trained to catch that in every person they interview. I am very social. Just stay around, and nobody's gonna give you a hard time if you just be yourself and be friendly. So people eventually come talk to you. And after a week, I got used to things around here. I talked to the counselor, and they told me that there are international clubs, gaming club, a lot of events that I can attend to, and that helps me meet new people and make new friends. And everybody is nice, and I love Nova because there's a multicultural background, people from all over the world, so they're very, very understanding. I would say that I imagine that people in the United States, nobody has to work really hard. I thought it was just go to the office job really easy, a very pleasant life, But it's not true. It's really not true. People work really, really hard. Compared to my country, they work really hard. And they're very determined. It's not like they be really specific about appointment and be on time, and that I really, really like. Because, not to say bad things about in Vietnam, but people tend to, show up without an appointment, walk-in appointment. But here, prefer to get appointments so you can go in and get out at the exact time, so that way we can have more people as possible, not like be all over the place and without a schedule. That's I really like. And people work hard for what they wanted to. They know what they want, and they will get what they want. That's what I think that how the life in the United States is, and it helps me learn a lot.
Okay, so that was one thing about the United States that is very true, is that people want you to be on time, okay? Don't be late. Come early. If you have an interview for a job, come early. Come 15 minutes early and sit and wait, okay? But do not come late. That's bad. That's really bad. The word for that in English, does anybody know the word, the adjective for being on time? Anybody know that word? I'll put it in chat. It's called being punctual. Being punctual, on time, okay, or early, okay? That's very important in the United States. For your class, for your university, for your work, everything. People want you to be on time, okay, punctual. All right, let me see what else I need to do here. Okay. All right, so here is something that, oh, here's another video. Okay, another student. Good, good, good. All right. This is a lady this time. Let me share the screen and the sound. Okay, go full screen. Okay, hope everybody can see.
Hi, I'm Phong Ngo from Vietnam, and I'm a sophomore at USC, studying communication. At first, I didn't think about studying in the US, but then I actually wanted to travel, so I thought maybe I should just have a change of environment, and I enjoy studying in the US because I made a lot of friends, and I actually get to join Greek life, which is a way to experience American culture, which I love to. I'm so happy to experience the lifetime of studying in the US as a student, because it's just a once in a lifetime experience, I guess, and it's actually benefits a lot to my growth later in life.
Okay. All right, so those are two people from Vietnam who recommend that you study in the United States. Let's look at something that might be more a difficult part of coming to the United States. This is going to be about a 4-minute video. This is when you first show up in the United States at the airport. What do you have to do? So I'm going to play this video. It's about 4 minutes or so. Almost 5 minutes. Up. Hold it. I got to share first. Okay, here we go.
Having a visa does not guarantee admission into the US. In reality, the visa only acts as a permission slip for you to arrive at the port of entry. The next part, which includes your interview with a CBP officer, will determine whether or not you will be allowed in. The final decision is always in the hands of the CBP officer at the POE you make it to. The visa is only the first step in the process to eventually be granted access to the US. Port of entry. The port of entry, usually abbreviated as POE, is simply the place where you enter the United States. This can be an international airport, seaport, or land border checkpoint. If you have a connecting flight, the first stop would be considered your port of entry. A helpful tip is to make sure you have a lot of time between your connections to get through immigration. That way you don't miss the second or third leg of your flight. Lastly, if you drive from nearby countries like Mexico or Canada, the border checkpoint on land would be the port of entry. CBP Officer. A CBP officer is a Customs and Border Protection officer that checks your documents, asks you questions, and ensures you are properly authorized to enter the U.S. You find these officers at every U.S. POE, and their role is to ensure physical and economic security in the United States. They have a guide they refer to that prompts them on how to act in the best interest of the United States. For students, they typically check your I-20, school info, among other things, and make sure you have all correct documentation for your entry. Questions by CBP Officer. The primary inspection booth is the place where CBP officers check and interview those arriving in the U.S. You usually get in a line with all other non-U.S. citizens and wait to be called to one of the available booths for your short interview. Here, the CBP officer checks all your documents and asks you questions. What is your purpose of entering the U.S.? What school are you planning to study at? How are you paying for your education? Usually, the inspection lasts anywhere from under 5 minutes to a maximum of 10 minutes. If the CBP officer is not convinced with your answers or is not able to verify a specific document, then you will be sent for secondary inspection. If the CBP officer is convinced with what you had to say and your documents all pass his inspection, they will stamp your passport, indicating your U.S. visa status and entry. Secondary inspection. You will be sent to secondary inspection when the CBP officer believes you need additional screening to enter the U.S. The reasons for this action could be the CBP officer's inability to verify your documents, possible fraudulent documents, or the belief that you have different intentions for entering the country. This part will be more.
Okay, here, let me just remind you that not everybody is as good a person as you are. There are bad people out there, okay? And that some bad people try to come to the United States and they try to cheat. Okay, so that's why the CBP officer just has to make sure that you're a good person, not trying to cheat. So just understand that they have to do that because some people do try to cheat, okay?
Comprehensive than what you experienced at the primary inspection booth. You may be in questioning for hours or even longer, depending on how the officers see your situation. The CBP officer will check your status in SEVIS. If there are issues or they need more information on your program or school, they may check with your school's designated school officer or DSO. Documents to carry as an F1 student. Valid passport with expiration date long enough for your studies in the U.S. I-20 signed by a DSO. Admission or acceptance letters from school. I-901 SEVIS fee payment receipt. Document proof for your financial support to cover your education. Original documents of your undergrad and other education certificates. Copy of your past transcripts that were sent to school. Name and contact info of DSO at your school. Address of where you will stay in the U.S. Any other documents like GRE, TOEFL score reports. Remember, it is very important as an international student to be prepared for the U.S. POE procedure to avoid any issues. If you are taken into secondary inspection, there is no need to fret. Simply tell the truth and stay as calm as possible. It is your responsibility to be fully aware of your school, your program, and other details of your education in the U.S., so be prepared to answer any question.
Okay, so, hold on. That is a very important video, okay? It's important because it gives you a lot of really good information about what happens when you get to the airport at the United States, okay? So it has a list of everything that you need. It talks about acronyms like POE means point of entry, which might be San Francisco International Airport or something like that, okay? It could be New York City, I don't know. But it's where you come into the United States, and it's gonna be an airport. Okay, so it talked about lots of acronyms, okay, acronyms. I'll put it in chat. Acronyms are like POE, stands for point of entry. It's a short way to say something. And we'll talk about acronyms in a minute. But anyway, that video explains many of the acronyms that you're going to have to deal with. Let me close some things and then let me go back to my handout. Okay, so he talked about SEVIS. I'm going to just quickly show you what SEVIS is. Let me share real quick. I'm going to go very quickly through all this just so that you can see what these links are. Okay. So SEVIS stands for Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. Okay, so you can find all about SEVIS here. Okay, so this is the link. Let me stop sharing that. Let me go back to the handout. So here is the link to SEVIS, okay? I'm running out of time and I want you to be able to ask questions. So these are links to some interesting reading for you so that you can see what's going on in the United States as far as international students, what's going on in the United States as far as international students and COVID. And I wanted to point you to a way to look up acronyms. What is going on here? Why is that? There, okay. Okay. So if you want to, oh gosh. I'm sorry, you guys. I made a bunch of mistakes today. I apologize. Spelling errors. I apologize. Okay, so this is the free dictionary. You can look up acronyms like POE and GRA and things like that. But the United States has too many acronyms. We use acronyms way too much, okay? But then there's also this, the acronym finder, and it can show you what an acronym can possibly mean, okay? And here's another link for you. This is the US Department of Education. If you want to see about, you know, the federal government and education. But let me stop there and ask, do you have any questions? Could you resend the link? Yes, I can resend the link. Let me go get it. Hold on. Oh. Copy link. Okay, here is the link to the document. So it's in chat now. Okay, any questions or comments? All you have to do is unmute and talk.
Yeah, thank you for your lessons today because it's very helpful for
Good, I'm glad. Maybe you'll come to Atlanta to study and I can say hi, okay?
oh, maybe.
Yeah, well, we have,
Or maybe in the future, maybe I will be like travel to Atlanta. Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, look me up. You have my email address, I think. Anyway, let me see. I'll send you my email address for this. This is my email address. My formal name is John, but my friends call me Jack. You can call me Jack. Any questions, any comments? I wish you all lots of luck and happiness in the future. Thank you, and it has been my honor to be your teacher today. Thank you for turning your cameras on. Thank you for talking. And thank you for being in class. Any questions or comments?
Hope you will like stay healthy.
Oh, thank you. I got fully vaccinated in February, so yeah, I'm pretty healthy. I'm lucky though. Okay, my sons, who are 32 now, they are fully vaccinated, and so I hope that you all get vaccinated and stay healthy. Are you back in school yet, or are you still at home?
Still at home.
Still at home, okay. Well, maybe we'll get back in school soon, I hope. School is much better than Zoom, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, well, you have the handout and you have all those links that you can go to. I wasn't able to go to all of the links, but that's why I put them in a handout so that you can have them and visit them when you have time. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye. Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
and
you.
goodbye.
Good day.
Thanks.
See you guys.
so much. Bye.
See you guys.